Hello, everyone, and welcome to this four-part workshop. My name is Gina, and I'm going to be your host for the first three of these four lessons. Dr. Pillai will be joining us, though, on the fourth session, which is May 31st. For the first three, we're going to go through the manifestation life cycle, or the manifestation formula of how you can create what it is you want in your life. And more specifically, why are we here today? We're living in unprecedented times, right? Our entire lives on a global scale, it's probably never ever happened before, have been disrupted, have been changed. We've been asked to think differently, act differently. And in turn, our lives are actually becoming something different. And in this moment in time, we have an immense opportunity to do something with that. Dr. Pillai teaches that in order to create something new, a new destiny, you need to actually break apart the current mindset, the current habits, and be able to build something new from a clear slate. That's what we're going to be covering today. But this is actually happening on a global level, a macro level. We're seeing habits being disrupted. We're being asked to use our time differently. This is actually which makes this the prime opportunity right now to be making great change. So we can get stuck in the fears and what the media is feeding us. But if you've been listening to Dr. Pillai over the past few weeks, you've been hearing him say not to do that. That fear is the illusion, and that we have the power. This workshop is about you having your power. It's about you taking control of this moment in time because it is so unique. And we're breaking open the macro level, global level karmas and mindset, and it gives us a huge opportunity on the micro level, our personal level, to break open our mindset, our karma, to create something new. We could forge something new and amazing on a global level. We really could, if enough people got together. We're not sure how that's going to go, but at least we can control what we do on a micro level, on a personal level. And even through these communities that we've been developing with Pillai Center and Shreem, Brzee, we have another opportunity to make kind of a mass shift. So today we're going to go through lesson 1. And it's amazing because, again, we're in this period of time where we have the opportunity to uproot and shift ourselves in a massive level. So we want to take advantage of that. And I'll be teaching this workshop. We're going to play a video, though, of the workshop. It's about a half hour in length. And this is where you're going to learn how to identify mindset feeders which bring us down the wrong path. You're going to learn a technique on how to clear out your negative thoughts and move your attention from the frontal lobe into the midbrain, and lots of other things. So what I'll be doing is we're here live so that you can post questions and I can answer them, but we'll be together for about an hour. So in just a minute, we're going to play this video, be continuing to chat and posting where you're from and all that good stuff. We'd also love to hear your feedback along the way. If you're hearing something in the workshop that is resonating with you, post it, note it, because that's another way for you to trigger your brain to remember what you're learning. On this viewing page, if you're on the viewing page and not on YouTube Direct, there is a link for you to download the action guide if you haven't done that already. This is going to help you out because we'll have a way for you to learn these feeders and be able to continue to take these with you, this content with you. So let's go ahead and get started. Get yourself into a comfortable place, turn off any distractions, and we'll begin. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Wealth Activation Workshop. I'm so excited to bring you the first 3 lessons in this series. Dr. Pillai will join us for the 4th lesson. So for the first 3 lessons, we will be going through the formula, the manifestation formula that you need in order to get what you want in life, right? We all have different versions of what wealth means to us. Wealth can be our happiness, our peace of mind, loving relationships. It can be a healthy bank account. It can be living in a beautiful location, feeling joy on a very regular basis. Whatever wealth means to you is what we're going to activate in this workshop series. So we're going to start out with how to diffuse a negative mindset, because if you have a negative mindset, there's not much you can put on top of that to create more out of. The negativity will block everything that you try to create on top of it. So we need to be able to clear the slate and be able to build something prosperous on top of a more positive, nourishing mindset. Step 2, we're going to learn the seeds for creation. How do you manifest? The third part, we're going to talk about how do you sustain it. It's okay to have cleared and created. Now, how do you sustain so you have momentum and growth that is going to continue and give you lasting results? So this is what we're going to cover today, and I invite you to be present, to turn off any distractions, and really give yourself this opportunity to learn this step-by-step technique so that it can help you in the long run. It has helped me immensely over my life, and I'm excited about passing it on to you. So whether you're new to meditation or self-development or to this workshop, or you have been on a lifelong journey of inquiry, spiritual evolution, manifestation, I feel like you'll be able to get something out of this workshop. So we're going to get started, and let's get yourself into a comfortable and non-distracting location, and we'll begin. A little bit about me. My name is Gina Guerrieri. I met Dr. Pillai in 2000. I was working a full-time job, which didn't have a whole lot of significance for me. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment shared with another person, so it was a little close quarters. I had a pretty good life. I mean, I thought I had a pretty good life. It was okay. But I did begin praying to God every day to please use me for something bigger. Don't let me go to work and spend my time just to make money, to have a place to live and to be able to feed myself. That's not the life that I want. I wanted to be able to give back. I wanted to be of service. I wanted to feel fulfilled. I wanted to have freedom, personal, financial. And over the course of this 20 years, I have received so many immense blessings. I'm not going to get into all of them, but if you fast forward to now, and more specifically, my use of Shreem Brzee more intensely in the past 2.5, 3 years has given me a life that I absolutely love. I get to do what I love every single day. I'm of service. I work for Pillai Center. I live in amazingly beautiful places. I get to travel. People ask me what my hobbies are, and I'm like, well, my life is, I don't need an escape from my life. My life is exactly what I want it to be. So I have found that what you prioritize is what you create. And I prioritized being able to live and be and work in an environment that nurtures my spirit and my soul and gives me also inner and outer abundance, quite literally. So Dr. Pillai's 200% life, 100% material, 100% spiritual is right on point. And if that's something that you're looking for, I welcome you to continue to explore his teachings as well as make the most out of this workshop. The first step in wealth activation is clearing out what doesn't work for you. You can't build a house on a foundation of rubble. So what's the foundation? The foundation is your mindset. And where does your mindset come from? Your mindset comes from your thoughts. And where do your thoughts come from? Our thoughts are coming from things we've learned. For example, what maybe your parents have taught you what it means to be about wealthy or have things. Maybe you had experiences in this life that triggered emotional reactions that give you belief systems that you are holding on to that don't support wealth. Maybe your religion, maybe your ancestry, your culture. There's a variety of ways in which our mind is developed, quite literally formed through the input that we've received in this life. And those make up our thoughts, and then our thoughts are our mindset. And that is what we bring with us day to day, and how we decide subconsciously or consciously what we're going to do, what we're going to believe, and how this can or cannot support wealth. There's a few things that also feed into our wealth consciousness or poverty consciousness. And I'm going to use poverty, scarcity, and I really mean lack. According to Dr. Pillai and the yogic tradition, the mind is what creates reality. There is a saying, you become as you think. While this may appear to be just philosophy, even modern science is now coming to the same conclusion. In quantum physics, it's called the observer theory. It's based on the groundbreaking research that demonstrates matter is not actually solid, that it solidifies and organizes itself only when it is observed. Otherwise, matter exists as non-local waves of potential. In layman terms, the observer is our mindset, which is our perception of reality or how we think about it. We project that which we seemingly attract circumstances and experiences into our life. What's actually happening is the reality is simply aligning with our mindset. There is a saying that the observed is the observer. In essence, we are living in our mind, inside and out. We're constantly feeding our mindset, either positive, supportive thoughts and beliefs, or thoughts and beliefs that block our manifestation process, our wealth building process. Now, there's often sometimes a conflict, which can be referred to in psychology as cognitive dissonance, where we have a thought where we say we want something, a healthy relationship, but then we have an underlying belief system that I'm not worthy of having that relationship, or it's just not possible. And this disconnect will continue to keep us in a stuck pattern until we can start dissolving this negative feeder, we call it, at the bottom level, which is pulling us down into a state that isn't supportive of our manifestation process. Let's think of it like this. There's a field and it has a bunch of weeds in it. The soil's a little dry, maybe hasn't been used in a while, not a lot of nutrients. And you want to go plant a crop or plant something. If you went and planted seeds into an area of the ground that is dry, doesn't have any nutrients, no fertilizer, and a bunch of weeds in it, you probably wouldn't have such a flourishing crop that you could bear fruit and vegetables from, or flowers, or whatever it is you're planting. This is how I like to think of mindset. If your mindset is the old dried out crop, soil full of weeds, and you go and plant something into it, you're trying to put something into a space that's not ready yet. And the removal of this negative mindset, diffusing of the negative feeders, is a way to clear that space so that we can then begin to nourish, water, prepare the soil, and plant the seed of whatever it is you want to manifest, whatever you want to bear fruit, whatever you want to flower. To help you better understand just how powerful your thoughts are, we'll take a look at some incredible research being conducted in the field of placebo. Placebo cases studies are most known for testing out new drugs or medicine where non-active ingredients are substituted instead of the actual drug. In one study, referenced by the famous University of California professor Norman Cousins, a group of people were told they were about to receive chemotherapy. As a result, their hair would fall out. Half the group was given actual chemotherapy, the other half was given a placebo. Of the placebo group, 35% lost their hair, even though they were not given any chemical that would make their hair fall out. They were just told it would, and because they believed it, their bodies reacted and actually did what they were told it would do. In another study, over 100 medical students were asked to participate in the testing of two new drugs. One was a stimulant, one was a tranquilizer. The stimulant was contained in a red capsule. The researcher held it up and described that the benefits were, and also the side effects, including nausea and dizziness. The researcher then held up the tranquilizer, which was in the blue pill, and this person went through the same procedure of describing the benefits and the side effects, including drowsiness and the inability to concentrate. What differentiated this test from ordinary placebo tests was that both pills contained active ingredients. The contents of the pills were just switched. The students who thought they were receiving the stimulant got the tranquilizer and vice versa. Incredibly, approximately 60% of the students showed the opposite side effect of the drug they actually received. In 2014, a study led by Harvard professor Ted Kapchuk was published in Science Translational Medicine, and it discovered that a placebo of migraine medication was 50% as effective as the real drug to reduce pain, meaning a sugar pill was as effective as migraine medicine for 50% of the participants. In summary, the data is dictating that mind over matter really exists. Between quantum physics and the placebo effect, modern science is gathering a huge amount of data that supports the yogic belief that you become as you think. So we literally are creating our reality from our thoughts, which makes it so important for us to be minding our mindset and making sure we are using our thought energy and our thought process wisely. According to the Laboratory of Neuroimaging in the University of Southern California, the average person thinks about 49 thoughts per minute. That's about 3,000 thoughts per hour and about 50 to 55,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot of thoughts. So we are feeding our mindset with these thoughts, which means if your scarcity or poverty mindset is creeping into, 30 to 70% of any amount of your thoughts, you're literally creating the reality because of the thoughts you're thinking. The first step in being able to manage this mindset is to become aware of the thoughts that you're having, the thoughts that feed poverty or scarcity or lack consciousness. So we're going to go through the top 3, or what we think is the top 3 of the feeders to a poverty mindset. And once you are aware of them, you can see them, you name them, you're dealing with them, then you can diffuse them. And we're going to give you the solution to diffusing these negative poverty mindset feeders as well. The first feeder we're going to talk about is being a victim. Personally, my favorite. It's got a lot of juice around it. If you're a victim, someone's doing something to you, it's not your fault, blah, 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 right? You get to fall into this trap, this victim trap. But really what you're doing is you're completely stripping yourself of all of your power. We just talked about how powerful we are through our thoughts. And if we can gain control over them, we could basically conquer anything. But being a victim is one of those negative poverty, scarcity feeders that brings about disempowerment. We no longer are owning our power. We're not being responsible for ourselves. We're not taking on ownership of our life. We're giving it away. We're giving it to someone or something, whatever happened to us, that we're saying it's that thing's or that person's fault. So to diffuse that, the affirmation that Dr. Pillai gives is, I am not a victim. It's a simple one, but whenever this victim mentality comes on, you'll know it because you might start feeling powerless, helpless. You might start blaming other people. You won't feel responsible or empowered for your life. When those triggers get triggered, then you can start to implement the plan for diffusing it. The first step in diffusing is the affirmation, I am not a victim, I am not a victim. Dr. Pillai has talked about how we are gods and goddesses. We are powerful. And if we're not owning that, we're giving it away. We are not living up to our potential. So you're not a victim, but being mindful of when this feeder may creep up into our lives is what's going to help you become aware and then diffuse this disempowering thought. The second feeder is attachment to the past. How many times have we said, well, it's because it happened like that before, or something happened and now you're bringing that into your present awareness, your present decision making, when it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Dr. Pillai says every moment is new. And the affirmation for letting go of your attachment to past is every moment is new. Every moment is new. So to diffuse this attachment, you want to use that affirmation. You also want to become aware. When am I thinking that this scenario is being dictated by something I was or experienced or acted or thought in the past without being brand new in this very moment? It's so much more empowering to be in the moment, to be having a present to what the possibilities are right now versus stuck in what was that you're bringing into your current situation. So remember, every moment is new. The third feeder is self-worth, low self-worth. If there's a concept or feeling or belief of low self-worth, you're creating low value. So what is worth? Worth is value. If you feel that you are not worth or valuable to have a supportive, loving relationship, a meaningful career, a loving family, a healthy body, a big fat bank account, whatever it is that this value is feeding into, it's being depleted by your own mindset, your mindset that you're not worth it. So to diffuse this, you can use the affirmation, I love myself. I am worth it. I love myself, I'm worth it. And you can come up with your own, whatever works best for you. But remembering, the less we give our own worth and value attention, the less the lack, the poverty that it will manifest in our life. It's a direct correlation. There are different parts of the brain associated with different thought patterns. So for example, the frontal lobe is where we have self-actualization, identity, decision-making. It is where general judgments and perception of our reality come into being. So when we're having our feeder thoughts, they're coming from the frontal lobe, this predominant part of the brain. Part of diffusing the poverty mindset is to shift out of the frontal lobe and into a part of the brain that is judgment-free, that is free of negativity, that has outrageous thoughts. And Dr. Ply calls it the miraculous brain. It is known as the midbrain, and it's the oldest part of the brain. The midbrain is considered by the yogis to be the unlimited part of your brain, which is associated with the third eye complex. They teach that to manifest thoughts, you have to think them through your midbrain. But how do you activate it so that your attentional energy is naturally resting there as opposed to on the frontal lobe? The yogis discovered that the area between the two eyebrows is connected to the midbrain, and by stimulating that area, you can activate the midbrain itself. Japanese researchers at the University of Tohoku used fMRI to see if reflexology works. Reflexology is essentially pressing a point on your body to stimulate another area of the body. They were able to measure, for example, that by pressing on certain reflexology points on the feet, they stimulated areas of the brain. The area between the two eyebrows is also known as a reflexology point. This is why in the Indian culture, people mark their foreheads between their two eyebrows with little bindis or marks. In acupuncture, this point is known as the yin tang. Patients who have had acupuncture treatment in this area have reported feeling a renewed calm, along with a sense of clarity. Additionally, they have reported new insights into their life and are better able to make decisions, especially those that change the course of their lives. Dr. Pillai has discovered and shared a way to stimulate the midbrain. He calls it midbrain tapping. The practice is really simple, and this is going to be a way for you to be activating the midbrain, taking attention away from the frontal lobe and off of the negativity or poverty feeders. The practice is simple. First, pull your attention in between your two eyebrows and feel pressure. So just without even touching, just feel right here. That's the step one. Second step is to then use the ring finger on your right hand and gently or aggressively tap or press this area. You're stimulating this and giving sensation. So you're tapping. Now, if you want, you can also tap up the forehead, which has other energy points continuing to stimulate the midbrain. But to start with, first you put your attention here. Then if you're in a place where you can actually do the tapping, maybe if you're at work, you only want to put your attention. And if you can tap, you take either the fingertip or your nail and tap into this area. You'll notice after you do it, you'll feel a sensation. You'll feel something there. So tap and feel, tap and feel, tap and feel. You'll notice something happening. What you'll want to do is do this as regularly as you can. Especially when you have a feeder crop up, if you're feeling like a victim or that you're not worthy or that you're thinking of or attached to something in the past, this is a perfect way to immediately diffuse it and bring your attention into a more positive state. Literally taking the attention off the frontal lobe and into the midbrain, where you can establish unlimited miraculous thoughts instead of the negative poverty thoughts from your feeders. A lot of people ask, how long will it take? Everyone wants to get things fast. And I like to remind folks of the fact that we're never really done with diffusing negativity or diffusing our poverty mindset. There will be stages and layers. So the example of peeling back the layers of an onion is true here, that every time we remove another layer of ourselves, of our negativity, we're getting closer to our true self. We're getting closer to our true abundance. We're getting closer to activating our true and amazing innate wealth. All of that will happen over time. But if you put a time limit into the practice, like I'm going to do it for 30 days and I should get this out of it, you're going about it kind of backwards. You should be putting your attention on the success you want to create. I want to have freedom of thoughts. I want to be peaceful. I want to be welcoming, loving relationships in my life. I want to have a fulfilling career. I want to make more money. All the things that you want to generate for your wealth, whatever your wealth looks like, is what you should be focusing on rather than the amount of time, because the amount of time is different for everyone. It depends on you and how dry your field is. Remember the field we talked about before. If your field has more weeds in it and is drier than your neighbor's, then it'll take a little longer for you to nurture and remove the weeds and nourish the soil there, versus your neighbor maybe having a little ahead of you in that sense. There's no wrong or right, and it's really not healthy to compare ourselves with others because that creates suffering. So it takes as long as it's going to take, but your commitment to the end result is what is going to make the difference. So instead of saying, well, how long is it going to take to clear out my field and put, fertilizer in there, you get to it knowing that that's what you want to create. And maybe it takes a couple weeks, maybe it takes a couple months, maybe it takes a couple years. But the key here is consistency. So what's next? In the first part of this training, we covered the clearing phase, clearing out and diffusing the negativity. And in relationship to our analogy here, our field, we want to clear out the weeds and we want to begin to prepare the soil for what gets planted. And then next, in our next lesson, is going to be the creation phase. And this is important because you don't want to just clear your field and leave it, because then more weeds might sprout up, more of those subconscious thoughts that come up and populate themselves again. You then, once you have the clearing, you want to be able to plant the seeds that you actually want, and then begin to take care of them in a way that they'll grow and flourish. So we are going to cover those two phases of how the creation phase is so important in the manifestation formula. So more specifically, in the second phase, the creation phase of the manifestation formula, we are going to learn the science of sound or mantras. Both yogic and modern science say that sound is the fundamental building blocks of the universe. It is what creates our reality. So we'll learn more about that. We'll learn the actual sound or mantra for creating inner and outer wealth. I'm very excited about that and can't wait to share this with you. And we're also going to learn the 4 methods in which you can use this sound to infuse into your life in a most profound way in order to help cultivate and create what it is you want to manifest. So let's recap the practice. First, you want to become aware of your thoughts. Remember the 50,000 plus thoughts we're having every day? Become aware of which ones are feeding positivity and which ones are feeding negativity or scarcity, poverty consciousness. When you meet up with a poverty feeder, you want to diffuse it. There's 2 ways to diffuse it. One is through an affirmation that is the reverse of whatever that poverty feeder is for you. So the victim mentality, if you're feeling like you're in a situation where you're feeling like you're a victim, you could diffuse it by saying, I am not a victim. You can also diffuse it by something that you make up that resonates with you. I am powerful. I create my reality, right? Really owning and taking responsibility for your life. So first thing, awareness. Second thing, diffusing the negative or poverty feeder. Third is implementing attention to and or tapping on the center between the eyebrows. So you've said your affirmation and you want to really destroy or diffuse this negative thought. So then first put your attention there. And if you're in a place where you can do the tapping, then take your right hand ring finger, place it between your 2 eyebrows and tap. It can be slow, like tap and feel, tap and feel, tap and feel, or it can be several. If you're feeling like you need to create some stimulation and take the attention away from the frontal lobe right away. Either way is fine. You can also move up the forehead in a line if you would like. So there's a few different variations. Don't worry about it. Do what's natural to you. Just make sure you're using your right hand and the ring finger is a good finger to use. And as we wrap up, please make sure you download the Scarcity Feeder Action Guide if you haven't already. I recommend printing it out so you can actually read through and maybe make some notes along the way. The more you become aware of and experience these feeders and how you're counteracting, you want to maybe start journaling and note down how this is making you feel, what shifts are occurring for you. You also want to memorize the affirmations, these positive affirmations that you can repeat to yourself along the way. You might even want to put reminders up around places that you'll see with the positive affirmation, because sometimes these feeders are so ingrained into us, we don't even become aware of them right away. But using the positive affirmations will help offset them at a very subtle level. You also want to be using your midbrain tapping technique. Whenever a negative thought comes up or any of these particular feeders arise, you want to be tapping and you want to be going into your midbrain, right? So before we go, if you would please post a comment below. What did you feel was maybe your most prominent feeder? Or maybe there's some more that you've experienced you want to make note of. And I'd love to hear what type of experiences you had with the midbrain tapping. Even if you just did it for a few seconds, did you feel a sensation? Did you feel any energy rising or shifts? Let us know. We'd love to hear. Welcome back. So that was the workshop pre-recorded by me. And now what I'd like to do is see what kind of questions you may have and how we can better serve you. Basically, I already said in the workshop that next session, we are going to be talking about the creation, which is where you really get to dig in. But the diffusion, the clearing, it's not quite as fun, but it's a necessary part of the manifestation formula. So you don't want to miss this part. We will get into creation, but you don't want to miss the fact that you do need to diffuse and clear out in order to create the new. So please post your questions below and I will start taking a look at those. While you're doing that, I want to let you know, I saw in the chat that there were some people asking for testimonials. How does this work? We're going to get to that in the next session. The next session is in 2 days from now. It is on May 26th. So I will be with you today, the 24th. May 26th and May 28th to go through the 3 phases of the manifestation formula, the wealth activation. And then Dr. Pillai will be with us at exactly a week from today on May 31st, same time, same place. So you'll want to be tuning into all of them. Yeah, so testimonials, I saw that in the chat and I just wanted to address that. We do have some really amazing results for you that we want to share. All right, I'm going to take a look at chat now and see what kind of questions we have. Sarah said, my main feeder is I am not worth it, or I'm not capable of making my manifestations happen. I will mess it up. It's a really common one. And thank you for sharing that and being so vulnerable, Sarah. It takes a lot to actually admit we have these feeders. Sometimes our pride wants to get in the way and say, no, I'm fine, right? I'm not a victim and I'm worth it, but you don't really believe that. And so using these affirmations and the tapping is what's going to help get you out of this mindset that's preventing you from actually doing the manifesting. Someone said, I felt a headache after tapping. This could be the start of the activation of this energy center, and it's okay. Sometimes you'll feel different sensations. It may be a tingling, it may be a pressure, it may be a headache. If it feels painful, you can ease back on it because we don't want you to be in pain. However, please understand that that also means it's working, that there's some energy that is being unblocked and that you're able to get past that over time. We've had people who said, you start focusing on the heart center, for example, and maybe instead of feeling balance and love, which is what the heart center represents, you start feeling pain. That's because it's working through the blockages that are there. You may be working through some blockages in this energy center that this tapping will clear away. And ultimately that's what you want, but do it in a way that works for you, in a pace that works for you. If you feel a migraine coming on, don't do it. We don't want you to be in that much pain. Simply put your attention, there was the other technique, which is put your attention on this area, and it helps you to pull the energy back into the midbrain. So you can ease back on it. Someone's asking, Brzee, is what can we do to clear the soil? everything that I just said in the last 30 minutes of that video is how to clear the soil, right? The feeders are what are infiltrating our mindset and keeping us from being able to manifest more. You want to be pulling those out. That's the clearing of the soil. You want to do the midbrain tapping to pull your energy from the frontal lobe, where all of the thoughts are, the negativity, the logical blocks that bring it into the midbrain, a place of manifestation. And in the next session, we'll give you an actual technique on how to use the sound, the sacred sound we're going to give you to be manifesting. So someone mentioned Jade believes that he was a war general in a past life. How can you reconcile? So I saw a couple of things on here mentioning past lives and astrology. These are parts of what Dr. Ply teaches of what also influences our mindset. So I talked about the psychological feeders that come up that we use, but in order to have a bigger picture of how to understand how our mindset gets created, if you believe in past lives and astrology, then these are some of the aspects that actually influence how our thoughts come about. So for example, astrology, past lives, current life situations, trauma you may have, your parents' upbringing, your literal space, all of that actually influence the thoughts you have on a regular basis. We're going to teach this. The techniques you learned here can also help draw you out of the influences from those particular thoughts. And we will be announcing a couple workshops from now a course that we will be offering, and in that course we're actually going to go into detail about these influencers and about 8 or so more feeders. So we're going to get into more detail of how you can offset these influencers. There's actual techniques that will teach you on doing that, and we'll create support and community around how you can have a more profound experience on clearing away the influencers and the feeders that are literally helping to create the thoughts we have. The thoughts create our mindset. Our mindset is what is either helping to create or decreate our wealth. And our wealth is anything that you value in life, whether that's relationships, health, money, joy. That's your wealth, right? So so this is the formula, folks. This is in it, and it works. It really works. So let me see. Any other questions? The chats are going by pretty quick. Okay, so Burson said, I feel very different sensation with the midbrain tapping. I like it. Thank you. Fantastic. All right. What was step 2? I think you mean lesson 2, which is going to happen on May 26th. All right, lots of chats going by, probably too quickly than I can. So maybe Maria, you can pull some questions out for me and put them on the side. So I don't want to miss these, but there are a lot. There's a lot going by. Okay, what do you do if you don't feel a sensation on tapping? That's fine. You don't need to feel a sensation. If you do, that's also good. You're feeling the energy that's being generated. If you don't, you just continue to do it. I meditated for years before I felt my chakras, right? Some of them anyway. Some of them I felt immediately. And this is a chakra. This is an energy center. So if you don't feel it right away, that's okay. You just keep going. Same thing with, the question I answered inside the video, which is, how long does it take? People always ask, what will happen? How long will it take? This is all an individual process. And it's so important for us to have patience and perseverance. Patience and perseverance. I have been studying with Dr. Ply, as you know, in this video for 20 years. My life has changed immensely, but it's been 20 years, right? It's not 2 days, 2 weeks. I see some people on chat saying, you're here for the first time. That's amazing. That's awesome. Someone on chat who just started seeing the workshop and doing a technique of Dr. Ply's for a week and already feeling a sensation, already feeling uplifting, more joy, positivity. That's going to be the first step, just so you know. The inner creates the outer. The inner creates the outer. And that is also why we're wanting to remove the inner negativity, this poverty, this scarcity consciousness, because we can't build on that. Like Sarah said, not feeling worthy. If you have this innate, or it's not innate because your power and your wealth is innate, but if you have this disconnect between who you really are, your powerful God being self, and the small self of I'm not worthy, that's going to continue to block. Even if your mind wants to say, yeah, I can do that, this is going to erode. And that's what the feeders are. And that's why we're saying we need to uproot them and clear them out. And that's why we gave you the affirmations as well as the tapping. All right, this is a good one. My age is a major pullback. I'm 60 and I feel I haven't built anything so far and I have little time. There's been people who are, I can't think of the example. Maybe someone in chat can help me out. I forget who it was. There was a particular prominent person who started their career like very late in life and created amazing things. Please never feel like it's too late. If you are alive and breathing, and especially if you have health, you have no excuse. There is no excuse, okay? Even if you live for another 20, 30 years, that's a lot of time if you use it wisely. So that, my friend, who says age is a major pullback, is you living in the past, not in the present. The present is what you can do right now. You are not your past, and every moment is new. That's the affirmation you can use. Okay, I can't find scarcity feeders in myself, but I see it in my family. If you see it in someone else, it might also be in you. That's the part where we sometimes are not always fully aware of our drawbacks, our faults, and it's not even a fault. It's just a way of being that we might have learned. And if you don't have any of them, and you really feel that you are worth it, and you are living in every moment is new, and you are not a victim of anything, you're owning your power, then you've probably created some amazing things in your life. So congratulations for you. And if you're seeing it in your family, don't worry about it. If you're so focused on you to be able to create the wealth and the beauty and the love that you want in your life, they're going to also see that. By you being the example of an amazing, powerful human making a difference for yourself and the world, everyone's going to notice, especially your family, the people closest to you. That's the best way you can actually give back to them. Someone said, I want to lose aggressiveness. These are good techniques to do that. What time to tap was a repeated question. There's no particular time of the day. It's when you are starting to notice the feeders. So in the beginning of that webinar, I mentioned to become aware. Awareness is key. And in the course that we're going to do, we go through this in more detail, like how to become hyper aware of the types of thoughts you have. And once you become aware, then you get to pull your attention to the forehead area and do the tapping to get yourself out of that energy, out of the negativity, the scarcity mindset. How can I clear everything with my empathy? I feel people's energies. When you say clear everything, I don't understand what you mean by everything for you, everything for others. As an empath, someone who feels a lot, you have to become a little more protective of your energy. And that's where you become you notice awareness, remember, is first. Become aware of when other people's energies start impacting you. And maybe you want to create an energetic shield around yourself. You can also use the tapping to put yourself out of the logical, the frontal lobe, and into the midbrain, where you can feel a sense of joy, a sense of peace, a sense of well-being. Question from guest number 2. Having no desire or wealth is an issue. If we believe everything in this world is temporary and not permanent, then what's the point of reaching the wealth? Well, that's a question for yourself, right? And Dr. Pillai mentions this when he talks about spiritual people. Sometimes spiritual people are more depressed because they get disassociated with the world. And it's not a good or bad thing. But if you don't, if your only wealth is your let's say spiritual progress, then these techniques can also still help you on that path. There's not a disconnect between wanting to be enlightened and wanting to be a millionaire. There's not a disconnect. And that's where the world has gone wrong, right? And Dr. Ply teaches that you can have a 200% life, 100% spiritual, 100% material, and you can blend them for a 200% life. This is where we can still use this formula. This beautiful thing I love about this formula is it can apply to anything. It doesn't mean that just because you aren't interested in this temporal world, you can't enjoy it or have a good life and still be in the enlightenment process. All right. Oh yeah, there we go. Guest says, Louise Hayes started a publishing company at age 70. Thank you for that. Like we can't be stopped by these limitations of the mind, and that's what this is about. So I really appreciate that person who said they're 60 and feel like they're too old. I appreciate you saying that because that's an honest um, truth for you, but it's not necessarily a truth. It wasn't a truth for Louise Hayes, right? So that's a mindset shift. It's a perfect example of a mindset shift. Susan said, "I'm 67, happier than ever. It will come." Chandra said, "I want to be a student of Dr. Ply's, any process. Continue to look on his YouTube channel and watch all the videos, attend courses if you're able to, and that's how you start." Yeah, Sam said, "Well, Warren Buffett didn't make most of his wealth until he was over 50 years old." All right. Bhakti, do you have any other questions for me? Should we turn pure vegetarian for chanting Shreem Brzee? Thank you for asking this. This is so important. And also someone earlier on the chat when we were in the middle of the video asked, I'm studying with a different teacher. I got initiation from a different teacher. Can I do Dr. Pillai's teachings? Yes. The beautiful thing about Dr. Pillai is he does not give restriction around the use of his techniques. You could be studying or have initiated with another master. You could be Christian. You could be worshiping the Buddha. It doesn't matter, because if you use a mantra such as Shreem Brzee, it can help you regardless. It is, it doesn't. I don't know what the exact word is, but it's not determined. It doesn't stop you from the benefit of Shreem Brzee if you have other religions or if you have other practices. It goes hand in hand. Now, someone asked if they have to become pure vegetarian. Same thing. There are no hard and fast rules with Dr. Pillai. He has said that you should use food based on your body and what you need. Some people need to eat meat to feel grounded, to live in a life, to be able to go to work. If they eat pure veg, they'll be feeling too spiritual, too high, too open to energy, and it won't actually help them in the long run. So you have to do what works best for you. Now, is pure vegetarian associated with being able to have more sattvic energy, more spiritual energy? Yes. But does that work for your lifestyle? That's only something you can answer. A question, what do we have to think while we are tapping? You don't have to think anything, but if you want to, you can also think the affirmation, one of the affirmations. But even by itself, just putting the attention, tap, feel, that starts pulling your energy back into the midbrain. So you don't have to use something, a word. Mira is asking, are spiritual people empaths too? Everyone's different. So it's not like all spiritual people are empaths. And I wouldn't worry about it if you, yeah. Other questions? Sindhu says, I am worried I will lose all the wealth. I can't hold on to it. Cindy, does that mean you already have wealth and you're worried about losing it? Or you're worried about if you get it, you'll lose it? That's a significant part of the answer. And then Ryan said a good answer, which was reverse the thought, my wealth is protected. So if you already have wealth, being fearful of losing it is a feeder, right? That's the fear coming in of the mindset that you want to hold on to the wealth. You want to continue to be and feel wealthy. So you want to let go of the thought, and that could be something that you affirm and change with the midbrain tapping. The other thing that I like to do, which is, if concern comes to me, such as if I'm going to lose something, I just think God, I'm protected. I'm protected by the divine. I'm protected by the universe. I'm protected by these sacred sounds. Someone's asking for the mantra. We're going to give that next session. Right now, there's not a mantra. Right now, there's the tapping and the affirmations and becoming aware of the thoughts. This is really important. And this is a big deal. I think maybe everyone doesn't realize how important what we learned today is, and that you need to be using this, or I invite you to be using this on a daily basis, becoming aware of the thoughts, and then at least the three that we mentioned today, and then diffusing them. If you did that only between now and then in 2 days from when we meet again, your life could be significantly different. So I'm really inviting you to use this. Don't jump ahead. What is the mantra, right? Just focus on what we learned today. If you do this, you can have a huge breakthrough. And that's what we want you to do. This is why we're doing this. This whole workshop came about because we're in this amazing, unusual moment in time. And we have the more opportunity than ever to change our lives. More opportunity than ever to change our lives. I don't know if everyone gets how significant that is. More opportunity than ever in our lifetime or other lifetimes to change our life because of this huge disruption that's happening. So this is the first step. Just trust us on this. This is Dr. Pillai's methodology. The first step is becoming aware of your thoughts and diffusing the negativity. And then we gave you we gave you the ways to identify at least 3 thoughts that do not help your positive mindset. And we gave you a technique to actually move your mind from that negativity to a more miraculous, open, unlimited part of the brain. We've given you a lot here. I don't want you to just feel like, oh, not so much. I need the mantra. Well, you're going to get the mantra and you're going to get another technique in the next class. But please first focus on this. And just awakening to the immense opportunity before us of this global shift, this new dynamic that is being generated. We get to say how it goes. The I'm not a victim really plays into this whole global pandemic thing. I am not a victim. I get to say, you're either stuck at home or you get to be at home. You get to, there's a shift in the way you think about things to turn them around when they're not working in an empowered way for you. If you are not feeling empowered about any area of your life, you get to shift that. Either shift the physical part of your life, like get a particular person or situation out of it, or shift the mindset around it. If you can't physically change it, like maybe not going certain places right now because of the global crisis. So Ryan's given some really good affirmations there in the chat. So that's fantastic. If you've got a feeder or mindset you want shifted. Siddhant is saying, which course is the best to join if we are searching for one? Well, we're going to announce a course in a couple webcasts from now. And that is what I would recommend, because it's going to be a live course where we will be guiding you for 3 months with all of the techniques that we're teaching you for free. So don't worry, folks. We're teaching a lot of all this free stuff. And then we will introduce a course at the end for those of you who want to be inside of a community, inside of more of a structure, inside of support, getting even more, immensely more amounts of content, new techniques from Dr. Pillai. Those will be announced in a few days from now. So sit on, just hold tight, and we'll let you know. Yeah, it's so exciting because if you see Dr. Pillai, he's been on the Shreem Brzee, not YouTube, he's been on the Instagram. We have new social media outlets for everyone to please make sure you're joining the Shreem Brzee Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And he's been talking more about Shreem Brzee in the past couple months because of this global crisis, because we're able, because that energy can stabilize us both inwardly and outwardly. And he's been wanting to put more content out and wanting to create this course for us. So we'll hear more about that in the coming workshops. Interesting that someone's asking about judgment. That's actually going to be one of the feeders in the course that we're covering. Judgment's a big one, right? Keeps us from loving and being present. Yes, you can say the affirmation as you tap, or you can just tap. Great, Siddhant. Siddhant says, we are planning to join for the wealth generation. Super. Okay, we'll be getting email reminders for each workshop. If you registered for this workshop, you will be getting email reminders. Maria, if you could just put in the link. If you did not register and you're seeing this because of a shared link, or you're seeing this directly on YouTube, please place your name on the email list. And in YouTube, it's in the description of the video. And then on the viewing page, it's going to be in the chat that Maria is going to post. Just make sure your email is on that list, because we will be sending you reminders. And you can also sign up for text messages, which is great. I got the text message before this. I'm like, super. So you can sign up for reminders so you won't miss the next 3 workshops, the next 2 with me and the last one with Dr. Pillai. And then for obvious reasons, we finish off with Dr. Pillai because he's going to give us a wealth empowerment. He's going to give an amazing new teaching plus an empowerment and energy transmission to you, which is part of the manifestation formula at Pillai Center. It's the secret ingredient, as a matter of fact. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wrap up, because I said we'd be together for an hour, and it's an hour. Okay, should I concentrate on what I want or concentrate on what I need to remove from my life? Dr. Pillai has actually taught both methods. You want to become aware of what you want to remove from your life. And he's even said sometimes to write that down so that you know what it is. You have to, and I mentioned it in the workshop, you have to name it. Then name the demon in your life of what it is you no longer want. But then in order to focus the creation phase, that's going to be in lesson 2 that I'm going to teach you. You want to be able to focus on a more aggressively, or more with more consciousness, what you want to manifest. So need to know what it is you want to remove, need to be aware of it, and then you want to focus on what you want to create. Yeah, by the way, someone's mentioning chanting, Shreem Brzee, and there's every Friday on this channel, there's a Shreem Brzee chanting, and then every day until the end of May, 7 p.m. Pacific time, there's Shreem Brzee chanting on the Shreem Brzee YouTube channel. So you can experience that. It's every day until the end of May. And we have been doing an incredible amount of free sessions since, what was it, April. Yeah, I started doing daily lives on Instagram. Now I'm doing them 3 times a week. Sucharita is hosting daily Shreem Brzee calls, sessions on the YouTube channel. And then Donna hosts every Friday morning Pacific time, 8 a.m. Pacific time on the Shreem Brzee YouTube. So lots of good stuff we're giving. And if you haven't explored the Shreem Brzee YouTube, please do that now and subscribe, and then hit the little bell for notifications, because we do go live quite often and we want you to come and join and participate in this very high energy. Okay, Inez, should I listen to Dr. Ply, Shreem Brzee, or say it myself? Both. That's what I do. I have it on a player, play it 24/7. You also chant it yourself. We're going to cover more of that in the next session. Vaughn says it also helps to write your goals down. Dr. Ply said a few times to write them down, at least 9 times. We're going to cover more of that in the next session as well, what to do with your goals and how to, that's part of the creation phase. All right. I think that's everything. Is it okay to chant a mantra during a woman's monthly cycle? Yes. Nisha said, with Dr. Ply, I'm a hero. Without him, I am zero. People are very, very dedicated. That's beautiful. Can we chant, or do we have to have Diksha from Dr. Ply? No, you can chant. All right, lots of really good positive feedback here. Thank you so much. All right, I think that's it. So we're going to leave the chat open for a little while longer on both YouTube and on the viewing page, so that you can continue to get some of your questions answered. And I'm going to wrap up now. You've been amazing. Thank you so much. Really great energy. So grateful for you. Please come back May 26th in 2 days from now, same time, and we will go into the creation phase. You don't want to miss that. And then, of course, Dr. Ply on May 31st. So I will see you all soon. I'll be in chat just a minute to help out with any other questions. And namaste.